Hello, everyone, and welcome to another special video from irishsportsdaily.com. I am Greg Flammang, and we have Notre Dame women's head basketball coach Niele Ivey on the show today, and she's going to be talking about the 2023-2024 basketball team, what her expectations are for that team, the improvements that they've made in the offseason, and what she's excited about and looking forward to as they head on to the 2023-2024 season. So thank you for being here. And before we get to her, I just want to talk to you about a couple of our sponsors. The first one being ESQ Clothing, which has created the world's first bamboo dress shirt. It's crafted from high quality bamboo fabric. It's the softest and most comfortable shirt you'll ever put on. It's not only more sustainable than cotton, but also feels cooler, has stretch, is odor and wrinkle resistant, and it's even machine washable. You've seen ESQ's one-piece collar bamboo dress shirt on all of Notre Dame's top players and coaches, and it's the perfect shirt for today's business meeting or heading for a night out. Use ISD15 and get 15% off all online items. That's ISD15 for 15% off all online items. And another sponsor that's sponsoring our show today is VSR Media, which was founded by Notre Dame football pregame host and Emmy award-winning anchor Vahid Sadrazadeh. VSR Media provides professional and cinematic video and photo. Whether you're looking for a collegiate or pro-level highlight reel, have a personal story to tell, or are aiming to diversify and grow your business, VSR Media specializes in short and long-form video storytelling, social media management, and website design. VSR Media also captures professional headshots, senior and sports photos. Contact them at vsrmediacompany.com and mention Irish Sports Daily to receive 20% off your first project. Visit them online or give them a call at 574-800-9106. And without further ado, let's get to head coach Niele Ivey. Okay, everyone, we are here with Notre Dame women's head basketball coach Niele Ivey. And Coach Ivey, the first question I have for you is Notre Dame's a program with national title aspirations every single year. And how do you go about balancing expectations with the possibility of like a regular season title and a conference tournament championship that's available to you and an NCAA tournament that's all sitting out there? How do you talk big picture with the girls heading into the year, and managing how they balance a long season like that?
Yeah. So I always come out with like each year having kind of trying to establish our identity with that particular team. And I feel like being at Notre Dame, like you mentioned, like the expectation is always high. So I always kind of start with that. Like when you come to Notre Dame, you're part of that legacy. When you wear that uniform, like you assume the legacy that was there before you. And so I always talk about that. And then I talk about like short-term goals, trying to get better every day. And then I always throw in like, the vision, the big picture. So I try to establish the vision early, but understanding that we have to work to get better on a daily basis instead of looking so forward. But when they come to Notre Dame, they know the expectations is to win. When you walk into the gym, all you see is, 9 Final Fours. So it's always a reminder every day when you walk on the court that you're part of something that's a lot bigger than yourself. So I think just having that atmosphere is always an example for them.
So you talked about building an identity throughout the year, and I want to kind of be a little bit backwards looking on that, because last year you had a roster that you felt like they were going to play a certain kind of way, and you had some very key injuries. How difficult was it for you to kind of change the team's identity on the fly, especially with Olivia going down so late in the year in the conference tournament? Like, how hard was it for you then to change the identity on the fly? Which, it ended up in a Sweet 16 appearance, which is a very good outcome for a lot of teams. Even for Notre Dame, it might be a little bit disappointing, but how hard was it for you to change the team's identity on the fly like that?
Yeah, it was really, really challenging. And I had to just embrace what was happening to keep my team level-headed, because it was a big shock. We lost Darren Mabry. We lost 2 starters to ACL. So Darren Mabry like a month prior. So we had to adjust to that. That's losing a leader, losing a 5th-year senior, a lot of experience. And then, like you mentioned, when Olivia went down, it was almost another dagger to the heart. So I really just tried to stay positive, make sure the team stay positive, and just focus on the next man up, next woman up. Kind of talked about that. It's like, okay, we're going to have to be a point guard by committee. Everybody's going to have to do a little bit more. and just had to just readjust the lineup. I started three posts. I had Sony that was running the point, Sonia Citron that was running the point. So I had to adjust a lot with the roles. And I kind of just focused on everybody just doing a little bit more for those injured players and playing for them. And so kind of like that's how I had to adjust my coaching. But it was challenging. I'm not going to lie. Like I had to change the offense. There were so many things that I had to do. And it was almost like you're in it, so you just had to adjust. And so that's what I did. And I credit my team and my staff for helping that. I had a great staff that can help me, but also I had a team that just really they just really responded to the adversity, and everybody stepped up. And that's the reason why we went probably further than what people thought. But we put ourselves in a great position. We won the ACC regular season, and then we got a chance to host 2 games at home. So we put ourselves in a great position. And then unfortunately lost to Maryland. But I credit my team with the resilience and the fight that they played with.
Yeah. So you talked about having to adjust and having lost things and having to change the offense. I think one of the things that really got lost with Dara was the 3-point shooting. That took a big dip throughout the year. Your team was 31% shooting threes last year, which is about in the middle of the NCAA. Obviously there's 361 teams in the women's NCAA that where they track that stat.
Right.
14.2 threes per game, and total attempts on the season. We're near the bottom of the NCAA. I assume that 3-point shot is very, very important, especially now with the current trends in basketball. 3-and-D is a term that's very much widely used in both the women and men's game. Just want to highlight a couple players that have been brought in. Hannah Hidalgo, a grad transfer from Fordham. She's made 238 threes in her 4 years at Fordham. And freshman Emma Risch, the 2023 Ball is Life 3-point champion, made 569 threes in high school. Once scored 30 points in a quarter, including 9 threes, which is a heat check beyond belief. How much are you counting on those 2 girls and just the team in general to be a much better 3-point shooting team this year?
Yeah, you nailed it. That was something that I was trying to identify, was 3-point shooting and perimeter shooting. And like you said, it hit us really hard when we lost Dara. Losing that 3-point presence. And so that was something that I was looking to recruit, to bring in, floor spacers, having Olivia Miles, having Hannah Hidalgo. I wanted to be able to space the floor. So that was an emphasis for me recruiting wise. And so I think they're going to come in right away and make a huge impact. It allows us not to be zoned, because I feel like we got zoned a lot last year at the end of the year. Like I said, allows us to space the floor, to open it up. And both of them are just incredible, very high IQ players, but just have, a gift in shooting the 3. And Emma has size with her ability to shoot the 3. Yeah. She's a bigger guard. And she's got a really, really pure shot. And then I call her AD, Anna DeWolf. She's super crafty, so she can score multiple ways. She's a 3-level scorer, but 3-point shot is one of her specialties. So love bringing in specialty shooters. So that's been great.
Yeah. It adds, I think, to every team. Everyone's looking for, that 3-and-D player. Another question I had for you is, your team was 118th in team pace last year, which is basically how many possessions per game you have, which is the top third of the country. Which it's kind of the bottom of the top 3, the top third. Do you want to be faster in 2023? It seems to me like the way this team is built, it's built to push the pace, and it's built to play a little bit faster, to get more possessions.
Absolutely. That's something I talk about a lot, especially since I even came back here at Notre Dame. Being in the NBA, I learned that from the Grizzlies. So my first year with John Morant, with Taylor Jenkins, all we talked about was pace. And like you mentioned, points per possessions. And I learned that analytically and learned that just in that system. So I try to bring that system here and have implemented it every year. And I feel like now we're in year 4. I think that we're really going to try to adapt to that type of style. I'm always stressing playing with pace with my team. And I think Liv was the type of point guard to play with pace. So when she comes back, I know that she's going to do that. And I think I believe adding Hannah Hidalgo is really going to force us to play fast. She's one of the fastest guards in the country. and she's really great at getting the ball out the net and really pushing. She can get downhill with ease, gets down the floor with less than 5 seconds. So having those two dynamic, fast point guards and explosiveness with shooters, I think hopefully you'll see us trend in a higher direction in that category.
Will having Hannah Hidalgo kind of ease the transition of Olivia into the lineup because they can play a similar style? I know Olivia likes to push the pace. And she's also, she's like a Magic Johnson style, or like Luca, or a bigger guard.
Right.
I feel like she really wants to push the ball. Does having Hannah, does it make it easier than it otherwise would be if someone like her wasn't on the roster? Just easing Olivia into the lineup there.
Oh yeah, I feel both of them are, to me, those two are two of the best point guards that you're going to see. Like they're always going to be in the top of that list as far as point guards with vision and the way that they can play and manipulate defenses. Both of them is super talented. A little different, like you said, with the size. Hannah is defensive minded. She's one of those. She's just pesty defensively. So I think Hannah brings another level of a ball handler as well. And losing Liv last year, not having that really hurt. So this year, like my focus was, to bring in another point guard, somebody that can handle the ball. And then those two together is going to be something special.
You mentioned Sonia Citron earlier in the conversation. Tell me about what she gained last year from having to shoulder so much of the load. She's basically a two guard last year with Olivia carrying the ball. And then Olivia goes down, and then it becomes her. And then she starts to have to create for others while also trying to create for herself. With that will come just naturally becoming a leader out there. How has that benefited her, and what will that bring to the team in 2023, 2024?
Yeah, what she gained last year, the experience being the go-to person is invaluable. I always felt like Sony is that type of versatile player that is very fine with not being in the spotlight. She's going to do exactly what you want to do. She's a glue player for me. She can play the 1 through 4 position, always in the right spot. She's like a type of person that I personally love. It's hard to have her take her out the game because she does so many things well. And so with her role being expanded, having to do more for us, it put her in that spotlight, for her just to be that go-to player. And that experience is it's gonna help her down the road. Definitely gonna help her in her junior season, but also as she continues to play professionally, because she has that experience now. She has the experience of having to run a team, even though that's not something that we would have wanted her to do.
Yeah.
She's gotten very comfortable making decisions, getting us into the offense, but also being the go-to scorer. So I ask her to do a lot. Even right now, there's certain times where I'm playing her at the 4, and then I'll turn around in a segment and have her run the point. And she's used to that because she got that experience last year when with our injuries. So for her, it's only going to help her. I always talk about Marina Mabry having to run the point here, that championship year. That's helped her in the league because she can be, a 2 guard. She can be a scorer, but she can also run the point. So it makes her more versatile. It makes her value higher. And I feel like that's what's going to help Sony.
Also a 40% shooter from 3 last year, which is very, very good. Would she be the key to what people would call small ball lineups, with putting her at the 4, especially when you get Olivia back? Like I feel like Notre Dame would be able to play smaller if she's going to be at the 4. That's when you're really running teams. That makes it very difficult. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think some of our best teams, we had a 4-guard lineup, which is small ball. So it's really hard to defend.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of Sonia and the experience that she gained. So Sonia Citron, Maddie Westbeld, Olivia Miles, and KK Bransford, I believe all earned all ACC honors of some kind, whether first team, second team, or a freshman team. Communications director Ashton Pollard tells me Notre Dame was the only ACC team to have four players make all ACC team. How hard is it to balance experience with youth and the younger players coming into the team in the era of the transfer portal, where minutes are available somewhere for your players, especially, you're bringing really good players into your program all the time. How do you balance that? The need for, experienced players, but also younger players?
Right. I'm always trying to be purposeful in the way that I recruit. I don't carry a big roster. If you see my roster is like 11, 12. I think that's ideal. Coming in, I had a roster of 15, and that was very hard to manage. So I learned that by experience. And so now, I feel like I'm really intentional with who I bring in. I'm not going to bring in a ton of people that are like, I try to bring in complementary players. So if I bring in a back to the basket, I want to bring a more versatile face up type forward. I bring in a point guard every 2 years. So that's kind of the way that I recruit. I feel like the age of transfer portal, I think everybody's still trying to navigate what's best for their program. But for me, I'm just, like I said, I'm trying to be very intentional with positioning with what I need, but also it's identifying the right fit. And I try to get complementary players. So there are not a lot of players that are like each other. But I think that chemistry is something I'm always looking for, the right fit, that understand my system, understand, what I'm trying to build here. And I feel like I really nailed that with this roster. And I'm really excited. Like, last year I retained the entire roster. And I think Notre Dame's one of 5 schools that retain the entire roster. And that's something that I'm always looking forward. I want to grow with my team, so there are times that I'm going to look at the transfer portal and bring in the pieces that I need. But ideally, I would like to, continue to recruit high school and grow with my team, because I think that's when you really get a chance to, put in place your player development, and you get a chance to kind of help them transition to next level. And most of my players want to play professionally, and that's what I'm trying to help them do.
Yeah. So speaking of bringing in freshmen, we talked about Emmerich earlier, and you've referenced Hannah Hidalgo a number of times already. The number 5 recruit in the 2023 class, according to ESPN's Hoop Girls rankings, set a McDonald's All-American game record with 26 points and tied a game record with 8 steals. First of all, what kind of an asset can she be defensively for your team? You always want an on-the-ball defender, especially. And, as you get it, there's a lot of really good offensive players who are going to handle the ball a lot. How much of an asset can she be on that end when you consider, like, when it gets to, health permitting, of course, when it gets to March and that time of year, you're not going to want, Olivia Miles chasing around the top player or Sony or whoever that may be. You could have Hannah out there to do that. How important is she going to be on that end?
Yes, I'm so important. Hannah Hidalgo is a program changer. She, and I never reference this usually, but she reminds me of Skylar. And that's a tall tale. She is the last person that's done that I've seen change the program has been Skylar, with the way that she defends. And so that's why I mentioned Skylar when I mentioned Hannah. Hannah is relentless defensively. She's just a dog. So on like offense and defense, she's a dog. She loves to defend. She's going to pick you up, 94 feet. She's going to try to turn you in the backcourt, and defense excites her, and it's contagious. And so since she's been on campus, she's helped ramp everyone's defensive mentality and intensity because of the way she plays. And the only other person I've ever seen do that is Skylar. So she's going to change everything. She's a joy to coach. Like I said, she's it's the way that she plays brings off. It's contagious for the rest of the team. I love her energy. I love her fearlessness. And it's been awesome to kind of see it, because practices are so much more competitive. She does so many things well that it's just so fun, and she ignites us with the way that she plays, and it's been really fun to coach.
Do you think it'll be a challenge to get her to not get her to manage the expectations there? The way you're talking, it's very hard not to get excited. But she is, she is a freshman. I mean, do you feel like you're going to have to manage that?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you have a point guard, especially me being a point guard, I understand what the level of expectation and the weight that you have as a point guard, especially a freshman. So for me and her, like, my goal is to really communicate and help her along, because it is a transition. Like you said, it's a lot being a point guard and a freshman point guard. And I think she's done a phenomenal job. We had a foreign tour this summer, so we had the opportunity to play 2 games overseas. And I think that really helped her learn the system, get a chance to kind of get up and down, understand what I want, as far as being this extension of me on the court. I think that really helped her. And she has a really high IQ, and she's picked up everything. Really, she's a sponge. And she really wants to get better every day. She wants to be challenged and she wants to get better. So my expectations are high, but she's the type of player, caliber player that can handle it.
Awesome. Well, look, the team sounds exciting. It sounds like the type of team that people are going to want to watch on a day-to-day basis, and going to play an exciting brand of basketball. A lot of fun young players with experience as well. So thank you for coming on the show. I really enjoyed this conversation. We'll be following you guys. We'll be covering you guys, and good luck. Good luck this year.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. Have a good day.
You too.
All right. Bye.